right there, okay? Dr. Scott Glenn. Dr. Glenn is very accomplished in terms of motivation. He's from Penn State. Is a marketing manager. Does a whole bunch of things. All right.
All right, Bill. Thanks. Again, before we get started, I'll give you a little information on my background, who I am, what I've done, what I've accomplished. Before we talk about the team aspect, education background. I have a bachelor's in history and government, teacher certification, social studies, MBA, business administration and marketing, doctor of education, 4 years in the Marines. A little bit about my background. I'm an All-American football player. Played football down in West Virginia, Tech, Division II. I coached at Kutztown University, Albright College, Pottstown High School, head coach Union Chad Ford. Had numerous awards. So when we talk about teamwork and leadership, I have a lot of experience. I don't know if I want to talk about the team aspect today, but we're going to talk about leadership. You don't have good teamwork without leadership, which involves each member of the team participating in leadership roles, which all of the University of Phoenix students know. I want to use this guideline as far as leadership. This is what we'll be talking about. A brief introduction of leadership styles. I want to ask the question, are leaders born or are they made? Definition of leadership, my definition. We'll talk about the Marine Corps leadership principles and traits. Advice for leaders, which is important. Teamwork, teamwork style, definition, the importance of teamwork. Diversity, which is also important. I'm going to show you a diversified educational pipeline that I showed various entities that works in terms of diversity, how a team works, and then I'm going to show you victory formation. These are all type of leadership styles that one may partake in. All right, autocratic, democratic, free reign. You have your innovators, charismatic, control, liaison, fair, and so on. A couple slides later, I'm going to show you what works for me. I've seen different types of leaders, how they work. In order to make a team a success, I'm going to show you what works for me and what works for others. Leadership, born or made? Anybody? Are leaders born or made? Yes. Made. How do you say made? You develop. You're correct. Anybody else? Leadership, born or made? My answer is both. It's on the eye of the beholder. What you have right here is a guy by the name of David. You see, David was a born leader, but he was also taught, whether it was from his superiors, from God, or so on. Personally, myself, I was taught to be a leader, but I also believe I was born to be one. Through my eyes, did I understand the situation? A lot of people think love's soft, or cuddly, or something that you can use people. Love's the strongest thing in the world if you use it the right way. And I'll show you how to use it within teamwork once I describe what love is. Good example. A lot of people think, oh, I want to make a lot of money, I'll be the boss. I'll sit in the office while the rest of the people work, the rest of the team works. But as a coach, an educator, a Marine, I found out when I was out with the group working with them, got a lot of respect and got a lot done on a regular basis. As far as teacher, same thing. I taught gifted students, at-risk youths. All right. A lot of people think because they're in position, someone who's at risk doesn't know about life or have the experience that you know. When I listen to certain students, that's how I got a lot of my information. Mr. Glenn, the reason why a lot of us who are at risk don't want to work is because we didn't have anything for breakfast. Then I found out, Mr. Glenn, the reason why they're acting up over there, because they're listening to music on their headsets, because their IEP says they can listen to music, but the music is hyping them up. Mr. Glenn, the reason why so-and-so is laying down is because she's pregnant and nobody knows about it. So after I started listening to the students, I found out what the problem was within the alternative ed schools. So I talked to the CEO and I said, look, we need to bring some money in here and have breakfast in the morning. Oh, we don't have it on the budget, blah, blah, blah. If you make breakfast for the students that have alternative ed, because they're not all raised like we are, things are going to change. I know his IEP says he can listen to music, but that music needs to be filtered. I need to know what's going on with the music. Every time I listen to the students and they changes, the students begin to prosper. We got more kids within the program, and they were sent back to the regular districts. Why? Not because somebody at the top who was the vice president of marketing, not because of the executive director, not because of the director, because of the students. People listen to them. Leadership, communication, and listening. As a Marine, I always listen to my troops. Even though I was given a command to tell them what to do, I always listened to them. We had a trust there as a team. I didn't use my power to make them do work. I joined in with them and I listened to them. As far as a coach, good example, Unionville Chadsford, when I was the head coach, had very intelligent football players. We were playing a very good team, and one of my intelligent players came up to me and said, Coach, well, since they're playing a certain defense, if you put so-and-so in motion this way and run a counter the opposite way, maybe we can move the ball and set up the pass. And I listened to him. Many coaches nowadays think because of their power, they don't have to listen to anybody. I listened to that guy. We started to move the ball and we won the game. Whereas if I was stubborn, we probably would have lost the game because I thought because I had the power of the coach, I didn't have to listen to my players. A lot of people that are in leadership positions that don't listen, a lot of times have an identity crisis with themselves. And have an identity crisis. Matter of fact, this player at Unionville Chadsford probably was smarter than I was. So I used that to help us win. Here you go. No communication or lack thereof. It impedes progress.
Amen.
It's important that you have communication which starts from the top. A lot of times, and I've been caught up in this, a lot of times I found myself talking because I didn't know what was going on in my younger years. Because there's no proper communication at the top. As one would say, I don't like the gossip, but that was the only form of communication. That's important to listen in communication. If not, failure or destruction occurs. Important Proverbs talks about gossip and what it does to a person, an entity, a leader, a place, and anything that involves gossip. Leadership, the love part. Not until I found out what agape, eros, and phileo was. I teach this in every class that I have. I talk to adults about this, and I never get a negative response. Because a lot of students think, when I say, what is love? Oh, you love your girlfriend or your mom. What is love? Oh, friendship, you're right. Okay? But when I talk about phileo, which is like brotherly love, eros, which is a sensuous love, and agape, which is unconditional love. Once the students or even adults figured this out and understood what love is, they knew how powerful it is and how you can use it within the workplace, family, community. It's almost like common sense, is something that we got away from. Leadership principles and traits. Definition of a leader. This is what a leader does. Know yourself, seek self-improvement. When I look myself in the mirror, I know what my strengths are, so I move forward. I know what my weaknesses are too. And I ask people by listening, what am I doing that's wrong? So that I can improve. When you do that to the team, they'll respect you. They know what your weaknesses are. You can't hide behind a mask. Your position, your salary, or anything like that. People know who you are. Sooner or later, you will fall if you don't listen to your people and seek self-improvement. Be technically proficient. Make sure that the position that you're in, you know what you're doing, and you get better at it. Again, don't use your money, your power, your circle that's backing you up to move ahead. Your team's going to go. Develop a sense of responsibility to your subordinates, or the people that you work with. In order for them to be accountable, you got to make sure that yourself is accountable. If you don't know what you're doing and you're not accountable, your team's going to know. They may not say it. They're not going to get stuff done. Let's bring you to empowerment. Make sure that you empower your teams. Be by example. Know the people that you work for. Look out for their welfare. As a Marine, I always took care of my troops. George Washington was a good commander because he cared, loved, and took care of his troops. He said, I may not be able to get you some shoes. I know you're barefooted. I want to try to. I don't think I can pay you or give you a lot to eat. Then he was a good motivator and reminded them of the cause, breaking away from England, and really didn't have a chance. But I'll do whatever I can to get you what you need. That's good communication. It's trust that you develop amongst your team. Keep people informed. Proper communication. Just because I know it at the top as executive director, and the directors know it, and the teachers, tell the students, tell the team. As a matter of fact, the team should know first. They're the ones that are doing the major work. Ensure assigned tasks are understood, supervised, and accomplished. I always tell coaches and teachers, it's not what you know, it's what you can get the students or the players. I've seen all kinds of teachers, and I've seen all kinds of coaches say, I've coached for 30 years, I've taught for 30 years, get in the classroom, it's no management. Students aren't learning. It's not because they're stupid, it's because your communication, you don't know if they're hands-on, kinesthetic, visual, or audio learning. You don't know the group as a whole, you don't know individually. Train your team as a team. Talked about this earlier. You just can't take the 5 starters and run them down. Take your weakest link, make sure that person knows too. Empower everybody within the group. Employ your people in accordance with the capabilities. Don't make somebody in the team do something that they can't do. When you're working in your learning teams, find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. All right? You'll see people that have their doctorates, oh, I got my doctorate, I know it all. You still have weaknesses. You'll see people that don't have confidence. They have strengths in other things. I taught at-risk youths where teachers said they could never learn. I even wrote a book on it. One student, they said he was dyslexic. They said he was mildly MR. He got his GED. I promise you I'll put him in the book because he was motivated. He was empowered to learn. And somebody wrote him off.